Freon, my friend. He is the Oxford professor and a renowned atheist whose latest book is The Greatest Show on Earth, The Evidence of Evolution. The great Richard Dawkins is here. Professor, how you doing? Hello, everybody. Well, as I said in the monologue, it is so fortuitous that you are here on this day, the day after they found this great find. It must be the work of God. But you must be jumping up and down, because this is what you've devoted your life to, evolutionary biology, and here they found this new species from 4.4 million years ago. How is that possible if the Earth is only 10,000 years old?
It's called Ardipithecus ramidus. It's about 4.4 billion years ago, and as you say, billion. What did I say?
Billion. It's
million.
It's 4.4 for a million or billion?
Million.
Million, yes.
Isn't that what I said?
I hope so. I was testing you.
Okay, 4.4 million years, which is a bit older than Lucy, about 3 million years.
Right.
Lucy's a slightly more complete fossil. It's kind of getting on towards the common ancestor with chimpanzees, which lived about 6 or 7 million years ago. So it's not the common ancestor. It's too recent for that.
But the Darwin deniers always say we don't have enough intermediary species in the fossil history. Does this help that?
Of course. I mean, that was true when Darwin himself lived. There weren't any. And they still say, show us the missing link. Where's your missing link? And there are quite a few of them now. And
right.
Ardipithecus is just one of a great troop of them which have been found.
So explain this to me. I mean, we all evolved, and we all have the same brain, basically, now. So how can some of us believe in this, not believe in? We shouldn't say that, because we don't believe in this. It's the truth. We studied this, and it's scientific evidence. But how can some people feel this way about it? And then there are at least half of America who thinks the world was created by a man in a cloud in 6 days who then needed to rest. I love that. He's so powerful, he can create the universe, but then he's pooped. I mean, how can we have the same brain?
I'm sorry to say we don't have the same brain. I mean, there's great variation. One of the main principles of the Darwinian theory is plenty of variation for natural selection to work on. And there's sure enough plenty of variation in brain power. All the way from Einstein on the one hand to Sarah Palin at the other.
Okay, so America, you come here to, plug your book, and I hope you like our country, but we are a dumber country with this kind of stuff. But I understand that Europe is getting more like America in this way.
Polls show...
The Polish people?
Gallup poll, or equivalent, shows
Okay.
that 18% of the British people think it takes 1 month for the Earth to orbit the Sun. Get that? And 28% of the British people think that humans walked with dinosaurs. 28% of the British people get their science from the Flintstones, in other words.
And it really is, Europe is becoming Americanized. First they got the food, and now they got the stupidity.
Well, it's looking a bit like that, I'm sorry to say.
Mormons, I always thought Mormonism was too batshit to catch on here in a big way. But, Glenn Beck, I don't think people realize this. Glenn Beck is a Mormon. Yeah. And I think Mormonism actually could be the new hot religion because, those kind of Americans love that because it makes Christianity American. Jesus is from Missouri in Mormonism. I'm not making this up, right?
Well, Joseph Smith made it up in the 19th century.
Right.
And he made it up in 17th century English, although writing in the 19th century. I mean, it's got charlatan written absolutely all over it, and how it can possibly have caught on and still be going strong and getting stronger, and even having candidates for president.
Mitt Romney
is
a candidate for president.
Yeah.
And Glenn Beck is a candidate for Thorazine. But let me move on. Let me move on to this, and I want to get the panel on this too, because this is about the Muslims, and we had 3 sleeper cells that were uncovered last week in this country, and whenever they do this, and then you start reading the backgrounds of the people they got, and at least 2 of them were absolutely serious about blowing something up. This guy Nazi from Colorado, who was going to blow up the New York City subway, and this Jordanian in Dallas, a 19-year-old Jordanian. He went, you know, the FBI put him up to it, but he was happy to go to a building and he was about to blow it up. And when you read about these people, what to me is so scary is that, just like the 9/11 hijackers, they have this schizophrenia. It's not that they hate America. It's that they love America, and they feel guilty about it, I think. So during the day, they're eating the Chili's, and they're going to the titty bar, and then they get on the internet at night, and they want to atone for the guilt they feel for embracing the West in cyberspace. So you don't know who really is going to blow up this country.
I don't think it's about the sex or the eroticism. It's about foreign policy decisions. It may be some inner turmoil about the sexuality, but there's far more sexualized cultures around the world. They could go to Dubai, for Christ's sake, Brazil. They can go to other places if they're uncomfortable with women's breasts, which you might be implying there. There are plenty of places they can go to get more of them on a daily basis.
The problem is that they feel guilty about seeing women's
Sure,
breasts.
but if you're talking about big anger that causes somebody to bomb something, that's about much more than carnal knowledge. That is about foreign policy decisions. That it isn't just about
that
sex.
certainly is in the mix.
In a big way, because there's
No.
you know, think of the targets. If it's the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, just as 2 examples, that means something. It wasn't Hollywood or the set that used to shoot Sex in the City or something that, you know, that they're going to.
No, they don't like Hollywood, and they have
may not
tried
like
at the
Hollywood,
LA airport.
But it's not about just that. It's because, like I said, we're a very puritanical society, comparatively speaking, to other places around the world.
They always go for phallic symbols. They did. They don't like the thing in Seattle. You know, they tried to blow that up. I'm telling you, these people, they're schizophrenic. They feel guilty about the fact that they like America. They're like, you know what, I'm in this country by day, and I'm having a great time, and I shouldn't be having a great time, and I'm going to blow this country up as soon as I get off the water slide. This is terrific. Don't you think that's...
Why don't you just say it's religion? It's so obvious. I mean, why do it have to be either foreign policy or sex? I mean, these people have a holy book that tells them to kill infidels.
Well, then why is it just the Americans whose the foreign policy decisions have been, you know, very much against their livelihood or what they see as the quality of their lives? There's plenty of other people they could be taking it out on if it was just religion. Yes, there's religion. Yes, there's sexuality. Yes, there's inner demons. But I believe that the type of anger that motivates a terrorist act is mostly about politics.
Well, there's a lot of also
I don't think it's
terrorism going on inside the world. I mean, let's remember, a lot of the suicide bombing going on today is inside Pakistan, and it's Sunnis against Shiites. It's inside Iraq. It's Sunnis against Shiites. I think foreign policy is part of it. I think that's one of the things that feeds it. I think that also religion is something that feeds it. But to me, it's another part of this is also a deep sense, goes back to the religion, which is that these young men are raised with the view that they have that Islam, and this is not a criticism, Islam sees itself as the most perfect expression of God's monotheistic message. If I were to put it in computer terms, it sees itself as God 3.0. It sees Christianity as God 2.0. It sees Judaism as God 1.0 and Hinduism as God 0.0. And I think part of the dissonance, Bill, is when they come here or in Europe, is that in their identity, they have the most perfect system, but in real life, their countries are economically behind, okay, in terms of education behind, and there's a real distance. If I've got the most perfect operating system, why am I behind? And I think that produces a lot of rage, too. It is about foreign policy, it's about what we do, it's about that, and it's also about how much they hate their own governments, okay, who also keep them down, repressed, and behind.
I would like to comment. I would like to comment here. I represent a community that elected the first Arab American